it's taken me a long time to realize that I don't do well working with other people.
I am so honored. Come into my living room. You
I
approve?
love it. I love
Hi,
the
Sharon.
color.
Great to meet you. My goodness.
you.
This is crazy that you said yes. How much did they pay you? Thank you.
Get out of here.
Yeah, do you like it?
Yeah,
Isn't it
it's
warm
lovely.
and cozy?
And this whole facility is great.
Great, right?
Good
I know.
energy in here.
Yes, so important to me. Okay, I have to explain something, though.
Come on, tell me
So
everything.
I try to look a little classier. However, I know that I'm in the judge-free zone with you. But I do fuzzy socks on my show, Sharon, because I feel like people relax. Okay, how crazy is she gonna get? There's something about, like, being cozy on a couch.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Plus, I live in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I live back east full time, and I'm always freezing.
Do you like it here?
Oh, I like it here.
You do.
Well, okay. It's one of my questions for you. Because what's not to love? I think California is the most beautiful state, right? And it has ocean, mountains, desert. It has everything.
Everything you want.
Everything you want. And it's a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me is like, okay, I could see I'm almost an empty nester. So I can see myself out here now that it's just going to be me within the next 6 months. Why not? And then I'm like, well, because I have a brain and I don't agree with how the state's run. And it breaks my heart because it's the best state.
Breaks my heart too.
Financially, politics, like all of it. It's insane. So
there's no infrastructure here anymore. Doesn't exist.
Did it before in your mind?
Yeah.
When did it go south?
I tell you, I've been here since the early 70s.
Yeah.
And
thank you. You look great.
And it was so different. So different. And there were rules, there were laws, everybody lived by. And now it's all gone. It's all gone.
Do you recall a turning point? You know, like a specific time when you thought something has changed?
Probably about 2015. I started to feel,
What was it? What did you notice first?
Just everything, you know, not enough police, no infrastructure, more gangs, more robberies, more of all of the bad stuff that you don't want to be living near. And then as everything for lockdown, it just went insane.
Then it was like
totally
spiraling,
gone.
Yeah.
It was like the inmates have taken over the asylum.
And that was really before 2015-ish. It's really before, you know, COVID and the lockdowns. So it was going that way. Financially, it's always been kind of crazy. But then it took another level. It went to another level.
It did. It's absolutely crazy here with the amount of state tax that you have to pay. And the thing is, if you live in a city that's safe, you can see a cop on a street occasionally. I mean, I never see cops anywhere anymore. There's not enough of them. I feel badly for them. They're so understaffed. And, you know, you don't... The potholes everywhere in the roads, it's run so badly. There's just no infrastructure, and it's just... I just think to charge the state tax that they charge is insane. I mean, look at the prices of houses here, what you can get in any other state.
Insanity.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Like
it's insane.
Here's one of the problems, though. I lived in Scottsdale, Arizona for a while, about 10 years ago. And that was when we started to see a lot more California license plates coming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, don't come to our state and do what you did to yours. Like, if you're coming and you're leaving this mess, then, okay, let's not act the same way, vote the same way, maybe whatever it is. But otherwise, it's just going to continue. And I was afraid of Californians coming to ruin it, you know? The question is it salvageable? Do you think it's salvageable here?
I don't think you're going to see any change here in the next 4 years, put it that way. This is a long-term effort to get this city back to what it was.
What will it take, though? Because in my opinion, people here don't change the way they vote, even if they don't believe it. They kind of stick to whatever is comfortable.
There's a lot of people in this town, let me tell you, that say that they're Democrats, but they don't vote for the Democrat. They vote for the Republican.
They
because
just
of
keep
taxes.
it quiet?
They keep it quiet. So many people. Believe me, especially in film and music.
Of course. And I guess I expect that, because you can't think that everyone is that ignorant. And by the way, I wish it weren't DNR or blue and red. I wish it weren't, because it's basically common sense.
But there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
There's no debating here. You're either this or you're this. And then if you meet, we must hate each other. We have nothing in common because of who you vote for,
Right.
because of your politics. We have nothing in common. That, to me, is crazy.
It is.
That's absolutely crazy.
It is. And here's the problem, though. People stay quiet about it because they're afraid of getting canceled. And it's a legitimate fear. I mean, right?
Yeah,
we kind of have that in common in some ways, right?
Yes.
I mean, yours Sharon, though, was a much bigger, devastating thing to watch from afar. And obviously, I would like to touch on that quickly in a little bit, because it's emblematic of what we're seeing in so many areas of society, and specifically in this country. I don't know about the others. It doesn't seem to be quite as crazy, but in general, I lead with, and I have 3 kids, 2 in college, 1 on the way, diversity of thought. Like, that's where we have to begin, and it doesn't matter if we think differently. I actually don't care. It's about the human element. Maybe that's just because I'm older now and I want to know about this, not all of the other crap. But I believe people think like I do with that, where it isn't about politics, but they're afraid to say it. And then silence is compliance in my mind at this point. So if you stay silent because you're afraid of it, right, getting canceled, how is this ever going to change?
It won't. Not for a long, long time.
So what do we do? Speak up? I mean, we know what happens when we speak up.
Hey, listen, and I'm saying, yes, speak up. And it's easy for me to say that because my husband takes care of me. I mean, my earning capacity went from millions to a 0 in less than a day. Gone. So it's, I think about the people that can't afford to speak up, because what are they going to do? They have children, they have mortgages, they are afraid.
But that's why I think we have to do it for them.
Yeah.
And still, even if you have the means, it is scary.
The thing is that they have lost the meaning of the word debate.
Yep.
There is no debate. Nothing at all. You insult each other. You throw childish quips at each other, and you use words that you would have never heard a politician talking the way they do today. And it's like, what, you've all gone nuts. You've all gone crazy. Where is the respect? There's no respect between people anymore. They think that you can just threaten and say foul things to each other, childish, stupid, playground stuff to each other. That's cool.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And debate, and I would even put it more simply, just conversation. Can we just talk? I don't even need to debate you, but let's just have a conversation, because all of our opinions, for the most part, are formed based on our experiences.
Of course.
And so I feel this way because, well, this happened to me and it opened my eyes to a different whatever. Can't even have a conversation.
You have people now making decisions and saying things about their beliefs, and they have no life experience. No life experience at all. And I'm talking about kids that are at different colleges, universities here, demonstrating. Fine, demonstrate. That's freedom that this great country gives everybody. But don't take it over that fine line. And you're taking it over that fine line. You're making this personal. You've got no world experience. Parts of the world you're talking about you've never even been to. And you don't know their politics past the last, 50 years, you don't know. So educate yourself. Stay quiet until you fully understand a situation. But no, it's, and that's why I think it's going to take a long time for things to change here, because now every young kid, which is not bad at all, I'm not saying it's bad, but has their freedom of speech, but they have nothing to back it up.
They don't, but they don't have to, because they get to
It's
say
the
whatever
way
they
feel.
want.
It's the way I
Yes.
feel, and I have to get it out, you know.
Oh,
And so it's entitlement without life experience to back up what you're talking about. And you get very aggressive when you're giving your opinion, which is something I just can't take.
right.
This aggression, everybody's aggressive with each other. Why? You don't know me. I don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
We think differently, but we can still talk.
Right, right. Well, there's we empower them by, you know, allowing it. And I don't know what the discipline is, right? Like with some of the protesting on campuses, et cetera. I don't necessarily know what the answer is. You want them to do it, but if only they would do it without being hateful towards others. I have, and it's so funny. I feel very strongly about the transgender sports issue and biological men, boys having no place
I
in
don't
women's
think
sports.
they have any place
place.
whatsoever
Right.
in women's sports. It's belittling to women that people aren't sticking up for the women. It's like, what are you doing?
All of these feminists who scream and yell for all these years about all these topics, and they're silent.
Nothing.
Why?
I spoke to Caitlyn about it, Caitlyn Jenner, and she's like, hey, they don't belong here. They do not belong
She's
here.
been vocal, but all of these other women who have screamed and yelled in many positive, wonderful ways for so long. It's baffling to me that they're silent with this topic. This isn't even an opinion. This is science-based.
It is science-based.
Fact-based.
Yes.
This wouldn't people would have laughed at this conversation 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, so I brought it up because by me speaking up, and that's what I've always done as a woman in sports for the majority of my whole career until now, is, oh yeah, and I was always the only woman in the locker room. And I'm like, oh yeah, girls, let's go. And because I said biological men don't belong in sports, I had many people, including the soccer player Megan Rapinoe, saying that I'm transphobic and inciting violence against trans people because I said men need to stay out of our sports. By the way, she did put me in a sentence. She said me, Martina Navratilova, and Dave Chappelle. So I'm like, well, that's kind of good company. First time in my life I made
I'll
it
take
that.
it.
I'll take that. However, so we're all, you're calling Martina Navratilova transphobic because she believes.
Please.
So that's the part to your point about having a conversation without being ugly.
Yeah. Why? It's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary to get your point across. And it's just all of that has gone out of the window, and it's this, and it's got such anger behind it. Such anger. And I just, okay, freedom of speech, you have your right to your own opinion, but to treat me like shit while you're telling me your opinion, no, you don't have that right.
No, but too many people are quiet and they receive it and they allow it. And that's the part. And with my daughters and my son, I'm like, absolutely not. You don't have to scream back, but you can tell them how you feel and say, that's fine. You can have your opinion and I can have mine.
Exactly.
And that's it. You want to go get some pizza? Yeah. Like, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's really
exactly.
Fine. Yes.
And but that has gone. It's gone from the world, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
I was going to ask you that.
Everywhere.
Really? Because it feels like it's just here. Is it as bad elsewhere?
It's getting that way.
Really?
Yeah. With the students
in England.
Yeah.
Like the same basic issues.
Same basic issues, but with the same anger behind it. And you're wrong, and I'm right. Hey, in your mind.
I guess it makes me feel better that it's not just here, and heartbroken that it's global and it's spreading It's like a disease. It just continues to spread.
I tell you what it is. It's a fashion.
Yeah.
It's like fashion. You can say what you feel. You can really give it to them. You can do this. Nobody's going to do anything to me. People get puffy-chested when, you ask them their opinion. And it's like, it's just not cool.
It's funny, back in the day when people got puffy-chested and cocky, you'd break them down a little bit, Let's bring it back down to earth. I feel like we need that. I'd like to do it to a couple people, no names necessary. But like, sometimes we need to
Tell me about it.
Bring them back down. You mentioned the word anger, and because there is so much, I think it's the best way to describe what's going on, sadly, in many facets here in America and elsewhere. I was angry with what happened to you on the talk. Like, I was angry. What's it, 2 years now? 3?
3.
3? Are you still angry? Were you angry?
I was angry. I was angry. I was hurt. And I felt picked on. And all of that. And I had to work really hard to get rid of it. I had to work really hard with therapy to get rid of it. And I was always the person that goes, I don't need therapy. What's that? That's bullshit. I don't need all that. I'm fine. I'm strong. No. It's when your workmates that you've had for a long ass time, and even people that you work for at a corporation, you think, well, they're on our side. We all work together. This is a chain here. So we all work together. Nah. That's Disneyland. It's not reality as the way things are today. And when you've got a corporation that wants to put up certain people as an example of what their beliefs are, and we won't stand for this. We will not stand for this at our corporation. Look at what we did to her. Look at what we did to him. They're gone. This is what we do with people that don't think the way we do. But I thought the way they did. I was on their team.
Right.
So it wasn't like I was, what they accused me of being, a racist. I mean, it's like, give me a break. Just come on.
Did you ever get to have conversations with the bosses?
No, because they're so weak, they wouldn't talk to me. Only the legal department.
Can't.
And who I've never met. I don't know these women that are talking to me. And, then they started to go back and scratch and find things that I had said which would look bad in print. So stuff that I'd said, with the crew or the other host. So they go looking for stuff to build their case.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were doing that number on me, and it was just like,
it was so fast.
Oh yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't comprehend that.
I think they wanted the press for the show because the show was dying. I mean, I don't know how it's on there now because the ratings are non-existent. And I'm not doing that to be spiteful. It's reality.
The numbers are numbers, yeah.
Yeah. And they wanted the promotion. I was the only one at that time on the show that would ever get any press. They wouldn't say, oh, somebody from whoever the girls are said this on the talk today, so it's going to make the news or it's going to make the press. It was always from me. And again, yeah, I'm being puffy-chested. It was me that kept it going. And but they don't care because everyone's replaceable. You know that. Everyone's replaceable. We think, oh, they'd never do that to me. They really like me.
But I don't think that's from a cocky place. It's from a relationship perspective where these have been your teammates, your friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, you do a good job and bring in ratings and help the team, the show, not just you. So isn't that fair? I mean, you weren't sitting there going, everybody look at me. No, it's just how it was.
Yeah. it is what it is. That's why I got paid more than anyone else. But then if you're paid more than anyone else, the rest of the team get pissed off with you.
Yes.
And if your name is number one on the call list, they get pissed off with you. They don't want that. And so they then start,
behind the scenes.
All of this, yeah.
Did you feel that? Did you know that was happening?
I didn't know it was happening. No, I didn't. But then, of course, when it all came out and things were out.
Did you get to talk to them?
No.
The friends that you had?
No, I didn't. One of them she was a much younger girl, and she'd only been on the show a season, and I actually liked her very much. And we never spoke, and I didn't speak to the other one who I'd worked with for over 10 years, because it was just, I apologized to her. I didn't want to, because I felt I didn't do anything wrong, and she'd done it to me. But my kid said to me, just apologize to her. Maybe, you're wrong and she read you wrong or something. Just in case, apologize. And I did. I apologized to her. I called her. She wouldn't pick up my calls. And then she lied and said I never apologized. But of course, I have all the documented on my phone. You can never say that anymore, because your ass is busted.
Exactly.
And,
good.
The day that it happened, that this one woman started on me at 7:something that morning, she sent me an emoji, I love you emoji.
So she'd been so hurt and upset and devastated by what you'd said, and then...
No, it was before, the day she did it to me. But in the morning, before the show, I got this, kissing with the hearts around from her, and I thought, oh, okay.
Do you regret apologizing?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I'm like, fuck you.
Exactly.
Fuck you. And, and she knew what I was. She'd been in my home. She'd gone to England with me. I took care of her and her friend when they were in England. And, she'd been in my home many times, and she would always joke that she wanted to be an Osbourne. She wanted to marry my son, Jack. And it was this joke,
yes.
And so she knows me.
I feel like, and again, very similar situations and freedom of speech and just being true to yourself. But, oh, wait, I'm not allowed to? If I say this, yes, but if I say this, no, then, okay, what are the rules? Similar in many ways, but you're Sharon Osbourne. And I feel like, well, it was a story across the planet. Everybody talked about it. For me, the reason I bring it up is because for me, the most devastating part was the friends you think you have, the people you've invested in, the people you've opened your home to, trusted with your children, with your spouse. For me, it was my parents. And gone.
Overnight.
So how has that part?
Well, it got to such a point with everybody, the crew. I'm very much a crew person.
Yes,
I'd rather sit with the crew than sit with my co-host, who I respect and, really like, but I'm much better with the crew.
Yes, me too.
And so the crew and I were always very tight with each other, had a lot of mutual respect for each other. And a lot of them were campaigning for me to be brought back. And two particular ladies that worked with the creative side of the show were still reaching out to me. We still are good friends now.
Good.
But one of the hosts found out and complained to the bosses.
How does that affect her?
How does it affect her?
You're gone. She won.
Yeah, I know, exactly. What more? What more do you want from me or to do to me that you're reporting to ladies? And it could have got them into trouble. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you... Yeah, I mean, that's just, again, that's where you take it to a hate level.
My mother has always said to me, even when I was little and then through all of the work things, at age 50, my mother's still like, listen, it has helped me to remember that quite often it isn't even about us. they spew it towards us and they attack us, but that's deep-rooted in them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make it feel better, but sometimes in hindsight, I've been able to say, okay, because I was nice to them, you're nice to them, you're a good teammate, you're all those things. That's in them, especially if this young woman, or not so young, is that upset that you're talking to a crew member. Like that tells you this isn't even about you.
Yeah.
This is about some insecurities, some whatever.
Yeah. And one of the ladies, I'd thrown her 2 birthday parties. I'm like, and I mean, it's just like, what?
But they know deep down, don't you believe, in general, when people do the wrong thing, aren't loyal, whatever, like, we're not stupid. We know we don't have the courage to do the right thing, but don't you feel they do?
I have thought about it, and as I say, the younger girl, I'm not angry or mad at her at all. It's totally different. But the older one, I just think that she's not happy with her life.
Yeah.
She just isn't happy with her life, and I think she sees a woman who she thinks is overprivileged, lucky, so fucking lucky, which I am. I know I am. I know I am. And she looks at herself, and you have to go home to with yourself every day, to nobody else there. Not a plant, not a dog, not a fish. It's just you. And then she sees me, my kids were always there, my grandkids, because my son lived around the corner from the studio. So the kids, my grandkids, would always be in the dressing room and whatever. And I think, I get it. I get it.
I say this to my kids, it isn't an excuse for bad behavior, but it might be a reason.
Yeah.
I do think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're so tough. You're such a tough cookie forever. But I wonder, in those quiet moments immediately after, and then even today, like, how do you?
I can remember it was the first couple of weeks that it happened, and I went into the Grove to Nike. I was going to get Ozzy a pair of shorts to work out in, and I'm in the elevator with my eldest daughter, Amy, and this young girl with her friend turns around and she goes, I know you. I know who you are. And my daughter took my hand like this, and I thought, fuck, how much longer till this lift door opens? Because she's going to hit me. In any minute, she's going to attack me. And she was only a kid. And I tell you what, when that lift door opened, we ran. We ran because you could feel the atmosphere in the lift elevator.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, Jesus, no.
So she never said anything else? You didn't know what?
Yeah, she just kept saying, I know who you are. I know you. And I'm like, oh, shit, please don't. I've just had my face done.
Don't mess with this work.
Yeah, it got, and I got, the usual thing when, all the nutters come out and they start threatening you and all of that. And it's, but then they started to go on my kids' socials and, say horrible things to them. And it has that knock-on effect,
Right. That's the thing. It's happened to my kids as well. And go after me all you want. I can handle it. Right?
Yeah.
Listen, we're still standing somehow. You mess with them, and this is a different story.
Exactly.
And now I can't go track them down and do what I'd like to do or say to them. However, I guess it provides for good conversations for our kids, and your kids have lived this much differently, right, than I think most kids on the planet. But I guess from that mom perspective, what did you say? And they're adults, they're grown adults, but what did you say to them?
They were very upset because the one lady on the show was knew them so well.
Yeah.
And they were all very like, we don't understand, Mom. We don't understand. Like, why would she think you're a racist? Why? And they were like totally like, no, this isn't happening. There's some mistake here.
But they supported you?
Oh, God, yeah.
Besides telling you to apologize.
Yeah.
To the one lady.
They did. But it was my son and Sarah Gilbert, who used to be on the show, that told me, you got to go into therapy. You need it. So the two of them are sat there like this, and I'm like, all right, I'll go.
How much has it helped?
It helped me a lot because I honestly didn't want to carry that around and be a victim and, look at what they did to me. It's like, fuck you and fuck your corporation. I could give a fuck.
I love you.
It's like...
But how long did it take you to get to that point?
Probably 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah, really. Because for a while I just couldn't believe when, how just like this. Oh, yeah, she's a racist. They say that there's no blacklist in this industry. Believe me, you are. And everybody's frightened to say anything. One of my friends, Cindy Lauper, and she was going, hey, this is wrong. This is so wrong. I'm going to put something up on my social. And I said to her, please don't, because you are going to get a barrage of foul little letters to you. So just leave it out. But she did. She stuck up for me. But all my other friends, I just said, don't even bother. Just don't do it.
But how much did that mean that she did it anyway?
I know. She's a good girl.
Part of me thinks that it's the only way it's going to stop, though, is if others who reach out to us privately, and I'm so grateful, and I also understand the fear. It's real. They will get canceled.
How did you feel when it first happened? Shock?
Beyond.
Yeah.
Completely devastated and felt abandoned by a company that I'd given everything to. So overwhelmingly sad and scared because I needed I love my job, number one, but I needed the job. And then that's, a single mom and 3 kids, like, you're going to fire me if I don't apologize? And so I had to. And it went from there. And then I stood up for myself and filed a lawsuit. And it's just incomprehensible that it had to come to that. Just for me being true to me, because they can be true to themselves, but I can't. So
But the thing is, all of those arseholes over at your company think the same way you do.
They just don't have the balls to say it.
No, of course they don't.
Grown men and women don't have the courage to say it. So in some ways, I'm proud because there were too many lines crossed. I wish I had done it sooner, but you never dream it would have to come to this. Proud, it's like, no, at some point, enough. And they expect us to just say, okay, back away. And by the way, it's what I've done my whole life. So why would it change? Things changed. I do believe, though, that if there's more Cindy Lappers, no matter the situation, even if it's at the, in your local town and the school board and this parent stood up to say something and then they were silenced, and we see this all the time with some of these issues, right? Parents are trying to stand up, but other parents want to but are afraid. The only way this stops is if our peers find the courage to stand up as well, because guess what? It could be them next time.
Of course.
We're doing nothing wrong.
Of course.
So the more people stay silent, the more this will continue. And those people who are in power will continue to crush anyone who doesn't follow their orders.
But as you said, quite rightly so, it's scientific proof.
Yes.
That a man, if you have your bits cut off inside, you might not feel like a man because you've had your bits cut off, but you're still a man medically inside. And I know I'm going to get loads of letters, but bring them fucking on because I don't care. And so even with scientific proof, they still said you were wrong.
They know deep down.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah, they know that they are actually being, like, idiots. I need a better word, a bigger word, you
or
know?
they have no balls.
None. All the men.
And the thing is, it's a small minority that think this way.
Correct.
But the small minority have the loudest voice.
Yes. We have created that system. Yes.
Absolutely.
But it's funny, through all those, for me, it's almost 30 years in corporate television. I had a ton of bosses, very few leaders.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean you silence somebody that you disagree with, because, by the way, you can say, okay, I cut my bits off and I'm a girl now. Fine. Believe that.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to condemn you for that,
Nope.
but that's fine. But there are lines and parameters, and you still can't play women's soccer because you're white. Like, it's not happening. I believe there's ways to lead without making someone feel terrible, but here's the facts, and this is what we're going to go on. But none of the leaders at CBS, at Disney, ESPN, ABC, nobody will do it. And I believe we are representative of 95% of people in this country who it's like, okay, guys.
Except for kids coming up in school now, because those kids that are coming up in school now, this next generation that's coming up, I fear for them. I really fear for them. Half of the kids at school right now, they think, I'm not a jock. I'm not going to be beauty queen. I'm not good at sports. I'm not that clever. Which group do I fit in with?
Right.
Well, they now say, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy, or I'm a boy, I'm a girl. So they're going down that route to find a little group of people that they can click into. And years ago, it used to be if you were, if you weren't in any of those main groups at school, you'd be a goth.
Right.
You're a goth. Right. Yeah,
Black nails.
That's it, a real goth. And so now all that phase is gone. Now it's I'm a pussycat, or I'm a rabbit, or I'm a dog. I identify as a dog or something, whatever it is.
Yes.
It's all allowed.
There's litter boxes at my daughter's high school.
It's all allowed, and I think it's insane, because instead of telling these kids you can be anything you want, if you feel like a plant, then you're a plant. I'll water you twice a day. That's allowed. You could go with a pot on your head and I'm a plant.
Yes.
Instead of saying, look, this is your job, is to learn when you're a kid. You come in here, you dress appropriately. When you go home, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Whatever you want. It's not our business. But when you're at school, you do this, you present yourself a certain way, and that's it. But no, all the schools are like, let them be who they are. Well, you're confusing these kids because they're too young to really know. Yes, there's a small minority that very early on if they're in the right body or not. You do know that. I know that from experience in the family. But the thing is, that group is so fucking small. But now it's an epidemic in schools.
Yes.
And you can say what you feel. Totally. To an adult, to a teacher, to a headmaster, whatever. You must be able to say what you feel.
Social media.
Yeah.
This is intentional.
Yeah.
This is evil to me and intentional.
Yeah.
And with the platforms that those kids are on, it's everywhere. It's accepted. It's encouraged.
It's girls are overly sexual at
soon.
6, 7 years of age.
I know.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying what is allowed to go on at school. And I know people are going to go, she's an old fart. What the fuck does she know? Well,
people, 12 people? Because, or the people that live on TikTok anyway, fine. Sane people know that you are 1,000% right. This is actually simple.
Don't you worry about your kids at school?
I do. Fortunately, they're older. The youngest is a senior in high school. Thank God. Because if they were, 6th grade, whatever it might be, you would hear about me on the news. Because I would go in there and have some not so nice conversations with what you're trying to teach my kid. And oh, by the way, it's on the race aspect too. And we have up in San Francisco officially called woke kindergarten, and they're making sure teachers are teaching kids to distance themselves from their whiteness. Like this is part of the curriculum in a school district in San Francisco and in New York and in many spots where, by the way, it's federally funded and it's for profit. So they're getting money from the federal government to teach this. And these groups are making money on the outside as well. So that's why it isn't as simple as conversations and as parents. Yes, we have to be hands-on and have these conversations with our kids.
And watch what they're doing on their iPads and computers, because it's terrifying.
But to what end? Because now textbooks, they don't have them. They're all on their iPad. So are they studying on that iPad, or are they on fill in the blank platform? Because this is the struggle I had, and this is pre-COVID, fortunately, when they were younger. But unless you're going to stand over them for 8 hours a day and watch what they're doing, even with restrictions on the phone, it's still almost impossible. So it runs so deep, and I don't have answers. All I know is that if we're silent about any of these things, with what happened to you, with the kids, we're screwed.
But I mean, okay, say your kid says, okay, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. Fine. Okay, you feel like a boy. This is fine. You're allowed to feel that way. But you have to give everything time.
Yes.
And if you can dress the way you want at home, you can change your name at home, do whatever you want at home. It's our home. It's why it's safe. It's a safe place. But when you get to a certain age, see if you still feel this way. And when you get to a certain age, if we feel that this is the path in life where you should be, then we'll put you on that path.
Right.
But you can't just say to a kid who comes home because he or her best mate at school identifies as another sex, oh, I do too. I do. No, give it time. And you're special. We're all special. And they need to be taught in school how special an individual we all are. You don't want to be the same. You're special. There's only one of you. Own that. And give kids confidence, not arrogance. Because it's so different.
Right.
And to love oneself. But none of that. It's like, oh, you're feeling Japanese today? You're Japanese. Nothing against the Japanese, please.
No.
But, if you feel that way, then that's what you are.
Yes. Well, the fact that the parents are allowing it and confirming it to that level. Again, safe space, yes. And then there's reality, So I actually just think it is pretty simple. And 18, let's get through puberty, because we all know how confusing that is. It's awful. You're all jacked up.
We all flip-flop at that age.
Yes.
I hate you, no, I love you.
Right.
It's all like this when you're that age. Hormones and everything's crazy, and you are very influenced by your friends. And so, but it's like...
The adults in the room, you have to wait. Let them work through it. If you care about them, on their own. Get to 18, we'll have a discussion.
Yeah, exactly. And you can, you say if you feel that way, that's fine. I understand.
Can you imagine, though, Sharon, if your kids were little, and here in California, it sounds like it happens quite often, where there are conversations being had at school with administrators, counselors, teachers, and your children, unbeknownst to you. They're not telling you that they're talking to your child. Are you sure you're a girl today? Can you imagine finding out that they did that without speaking to you first?
I'd be going insane.
I'd be in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I'd be sharing a cell with you. It's insanity. It's just insanity. And it's like, listen, kids, we all go through, we've all been there. We've all been kids, we know. And it's like, just give them time. Give them time. Don't tell them they're crazy. Don't tell them they don't feel that way. Okay, I understand. And there is a way of dealing with it without, oh, my child is now whatever they are, and you put it all on your social and you're flaunting it. Well, they're not a new handbag. That's a human being.
Mhm.
It's between your child and you. Wait until they're at an age that they really know.
Right.
But people think it's so in. It's so in now. It's
Ugh.
great.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I will say, those are the people I don't want to be friends with.
Oh, me neither.
Like, I'm very open-minded, but guess what? If you're thinking that way, no.
No. Sorry.
That's the beauty of being canceled, though, isn't it? Where your circle gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no, I don't need this. I don't
No.
need that. It's a waste of time. Can you, listen, what do you have, 5 grandkids?
5.
5?
Yeah.
That, I hear, is so completely different and awesome and amazing compared to being a mom.
I was just saying to somebody outside that it's one of the only good things about getting old is grandkids, because you get to have babies in your house again. And you can see your kids through their kids, and it's a great gift.
What are the ages?
11, 8, 6, and a year and a half and a year.
Oh, wow. It's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
So they're going to be buddies.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah. So is that a silver lining to the chaos where you've been able to be around?
Yeah. It's such an amazing gift to have. And, you just see little versions of your grown-up kids running around. It's just brilliant. It's the best thing that's ever happened for me, is to see those little grandbabies.
Is there any payback happening where, Jack, one of the kids, was, a pain in the ass for a while when they were a kid, and it's like, oh, look, look, now this is exactly what you deserve, right?
From Jack and Kelly, they go, oh, now we understood. Now we understood
Yes.
why you behaved that way. Now we understand why you did that to us.
Yes.
Because they see it, the film's rerun again, so they get it.
They get why you wanted to kill them at times too, right?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
I think back to those early days and, when the show began, and trying to do all that and balance all that and parent and it's parenting, and then it's being a mom. Like, that's another level that I think most men actually acknowledge that. It's different for us.
It is.
When you look back, how did you do that?
Not very well, because people say, oh yeah, I can work to the extent that I work. I can run a home. I can be a mother. And you can't do it all well. Something has to suffer. And unfortunately, because of the industry that I was in, I had to travel an awful lot. And I really, really regret that time, because you never get it back, and it goes so quickly. And like now, in England, they have great laws for women who are pregnant, and that after you give birth, your job is kept for you for 9 months.
Wow.
9 months. And you get 80% of your wage every week.
My goodness, you're kidding.
Oh, no, nobody can fire you. And if they give your job away, they're in big trouble. So I think to myself, God, if I'd have had 9 months at home with my baby, it would have been such a gift from God. And I never had that. So, you can't do it all great. Something has to slip. You can't, listen, women juggle, don't we? We all juggle.
We're good, but
sometimes the ball drops, and,
My first was born in 2002. I was working in Washington, D.C. at the time, and I was, newer there. And one of the main hosts, and they said, if you want to cover one of the NFL teams, that's fine, great. But you have to be there the first day of training camp in the NFL. And I understood that. My first child was 8 weeks old. And on her 8-week birthday, I got in my car, and I remember my husband at the time holding holding her on the front step, 8 weeks old, and taking her, like, I can't even, her little hand and waving at me.
Yeah.
I mean, she's an infant. She was teeny. She wasn't even 10 pounds at that point, And waving, and I'm like, I'm strong. And I drove around the corner.
Cried.
Oh.
Yeah.
Had to pull over and lost it. And I did what I had to do. And I was the sole wage earner. My husband decided to stay home with the kids at that time. And was eventually going to go back to work, but never did. We'll talk about that offline, you and me. No, but
he got a little bit too comfortable at home. Yeah.
A little too comfy.
Yeah.
And was an incredible father during their younger years, which allowed me to be me, right? And to go do this. But again, somebody had to pay the mortgage. Somebody had to do it.
Right.
But 8 weeks, that's all I got.
Yeah.
It takes 10 months for our bodies to create this human and produce this human. And it takes about a full year for our bodies to recover, right? And 8 weeks, and it wasn't just back to work. It's 14-hour days in 100-degree heat. Yeah. And then you're trying to pump and all of these things. I never recovered. I don't think I have, and she's almost 22, Yeah. But I have guilt for that.
I do.
And
I do.
You still do?
Yeah, oh God,
oh my God. I was hoping you'd say that you would get over it.
It never goes away. It doesn't go away. No, it doesn't. Not for me anyway.
But you also know that, I hope, that you were not just helping provide, and I know maybe you didn't need it per se financially. However, your kids also saw mom out there fulfilling her dreams and being a badass in so many ways, right? I don't know what that balance is.
It was when I first had children. Ozzy was married before me, and he had 2 children. So Ozzy went through a divorce and gave everything that he had to his wife when she divorced him, and which was the right thing to do. And I had been working for my father, and we fell out.
Yes.
It's very difficult working with family, and I went from working with my father to working with my husband, so it's really hard working with family. And when I left my father, I was totally cut off, everything taken away. So we were like starting from day one as a couple, and all we had was debt. And we worked. We didn't. The first 3 years that my eldest daughter, and then Kelly, and then Jack, we had 1 daughter in a crib, 2 daughters, and then Jack, 3 in a crib on a tour bus.
Oh my goodness.
We had 3 years, and I had a baby every year for 3 years, and we didn't even have a home. We lived on a tour bus.
5 of you, 3 babies on a tour bus. But you were managing.
Yeah. And
so you had no choice.
And we had no home because we were both didn't have a fucking dollar. So Ozzy had to just keep doing shows and shows and shows to get money.
Timing.
Oh yeah. But it was, you know what? I don't regret that because we were all together.
Yes.
And
close quarters all together.
And nobody can say to Ozzy or to me, I gave you that.
Oh, no.
No, you didn't. And it's like, we earned that. We paid our dues. We triumphed with each other. And because, when you see these people and they go, yeah, but I gave them that gig. No, you didn't.
No. You did this from scratch.
Yeah. And so it's that way, that gives you more courage. You get like, I can do this. I have to do this. Because I didn't know anything else other than the music industry. I knew nothing else. So it was like, this is the only thing I can do to earn money. And Ozzy's the same.
And then your kids get older and they learn that.
Yeah.
And they understand it.
Yeah, and they understand that.
But you still have regrets, even though you know that was the right thing.
Yeah, because the time goes too quick. You know that. before you know, I mean, I can't believe I have, kids as old as they are, and I still call them kids,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they're always your babies.
Always, yes. But what would you change then? Because it had, I don't know, I believe in the journey, and you've had such a journey.
I just wish that I didn't have to, after the kids started school, that I didn't have to be away for the amount of time that I was away and, back for a week, then gone again for 2, and then back a week. It was really tough. Very, very tough on all of us.
Who was it toughest on the most as far as the kids?
All of them. They all,
in different ways.
Yeah, and it's all come out in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it Amy who, when you started the show, didn't want to be there?
Yeah.
And how old was she when she said, "Okay, I'm leaving, and you can do this and have the cameras in the house"?
16.
Oh.
Yeah, she stayed with us for a year and a half while the show was filming, and then she just said, "I've got to get out of the house," because there's only so long that you can hide, and I'll go upstairs, they're filming down, and then they're upstairs now, I'll go down. It's like she was like this all the time, and it was for her it was very difficult because she saw the 4 of us moving as a little group together, and she wasn't included in that, but it was her choice. It was her. She just felt that she wasn't ready for that at that time.
Mm-hmm. So when you reflect back on that,
I totally, if I could have changed it.
But you were too deep in. Was there a consideration to say, "Okay, stop. If my child is so upset that she wants to leave, is this worth it?"
I didn't. But after 3 seasons, I said, this is enough, because the children were all going crazy. And it was just like, nah, this craziness has got to stop.
Yeah. Well, so then you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, gosh, we're so hard on ourselves, as moms. And I don't know that we focus enough on all the everyday great decisions that we make and have made for them, to try to be great moms and to prepare them for being good adults, good humans. There's so much good.
But it's still, I look at friends that, were always there for every major event in their children's lives, and, would be there in the morning to make them their lunch that they took to school and all of that. And it's hard.
I remember being jealous.
Yeah.
Of some of those moms.
Yeah.
One time in one of our neighborhoods, I was probably one of 2 working moms, maybe 90 homes and one of 2. And there's a group email list, and the head of the PTO wrote an email that she was trying to send just to a couple friends and sent it to the whole neighborhood. And it was about how, if Sage and another woman, the other working woman, really cared about their kids, they would be there for this field trip. It went to the whole neighborhood. And I remember devastation for being judged, of course, by someone that was a friend. Those great friends that we have, right? But also because, my God, do you not think that I'm not beating myself up enough? And now you're saying this behind my back. I don't want to go to work today. I would rather be at the field trip to the zoo.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
And that broke me to see other women who were mothers who just had a different situation at home. That's all it was. I'll never forget that. And how bad it made me feel. I allowed that. I allowed, that in and let it get me. I don't know that I would allow that today if I were that wise then. But God, others don't make it easy on us. Other women.
They don't. And I can remember something quite similar. It was raising money for the school, so everybody was bringing in cakes. Their mums were making cakes. And I'd just come back from a trip, and the kids was saying like, oh, we've got to bring a cake. I'm like, no problem. I'll buy one. Stop on the way to school and we'll buy one. No, Mummy, you can't. It's got to be, you've got to make it. You've got to make it. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make it. So I went and I bought one. And I put it in a Tupperware container, so it was, it wasn't in the box. Yes, and took it in. But everybody knew that I hadn't made the cake, and you feel like, oh.
Yes, you absolutely. And I remember when about 10 years ago, I started traveling a lot more than ever, and so every night, the night before I'd go Thursday to Sunday, and I lived on the East Coast, had to come here to Los Angeles. I was doing a basketball show, and midnight the night before, I'd wait till everybody got to bed and I was all packed, and then I'd make banana bread. Because I thought that if I can't be here in the morning, at least they'll have this freaking banana bread, who cares? Yeah. To see that I made an effort and I tried and I love them, right? Like, I still have guilt for that all these years later. What's wrong with me? I need a drink. But I do think that they see more the good than we realize, and they love that banana bread and they still ask me to make it. But it is, listen, it does mean, if nothing else, that we care. Yeah. And that we've done our best, even if it's not worked out that way.
All we can ever do is our best. That's all we can ever do. And it's like, I was brought up the same way. My parents were away a lot because they were working in the industry and they would go on tour and whatever. And so I always thought, oh, I'm all right. They can be all right, but I'm not all right. So, that it does leave an impression on the kids.
It does. So I think we also, certain generations, I think these kids are going to be a little different, but certain generations, it's like, what do? You just push through. That's all I did. I had no choice. And I wanted to.
But now it's different because there's more women in jobs where they're running the show.
Yes.
So women aren't just a secretary anymore, right. Or, they belittle you by putting these titles on what you do. So it's so much more accepted now that women work, and, it's different for women, very much.
What did you do then to take care of you?
I used to eat. Eat. Never been a drinker, never been a drug taker. I'm a terrible drinker, terrible. My limit is 1, and if I go to 2, I'm just
done.
An idiot. So
no, but wouldn't I want to be a fly on the wall and just hear the conversation of you with 2, though?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a yes.
Oh, Lord.
I won't tell anyone. Can I just listen?
Right. Oh, just outrageous, terrible things. And I look back at my past of some of the behaviors, and I'm like,
okay, give me one good one.
I used to flash a lot. A lot. I used to flash.
What do you mean flash a lot? Like walk around the house, or you're on a plane?
On a plane, on a restaurant. If I'd go out with girlfriends, always they'd go, oh, here she is again.
Stop it.
Behind some guy's head, sat at a table, and, just insane. Yeah.
Okay, but you looked different then when you're doing this.
Oh, I was drunk. I didn't give a shit. And it's like, oh dear, I had teardrops for breasts in those days.
That's my point. Like, they were probably like,
oh yeah. They were like, hanging. And
sorry, you're making me laugh.
I just didn't give a shit.
Kind of fun. Wasn't it freeing?
Yeah, because I didn't give a shit. So it's just like, I'm only making an idiot of myself, not anybody else. So, it was just, I suppose, everybody's got something they do when they get drunk.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Yes, we do. I'm like you, though. 1 glass, I'm good. 2,
And 3, forget it. I can't even remember anything. Forget it.
Talk way too much. Talk way too much. I won't do that to you. There's wine over there, but I won't do that to you. Okay, but you didn't do anything. When I said do something for yourself, I'm thinking like a spa treatment or manicure or time alone. And you said, I ate. I overate. So that's not healthy.
No, it's terrible. Oh my God, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. I mean, I can remember I was at one show with Ozzy when I was, a young woman. And this girl came up to me and she said, "Oh, I've always wanted to meet Ozzy's mother."
What?
That's what I said. That's what I said. And I go, "Security, get her out of here." And it wasn't her fault, it's my fault. But I mean, I was 230 pounds.
That's what blows my mind because you're 5'2".
I've actually shrunk. I'm now 5'1". But yeah, can you imagine 230 pounds?
But you still had your young, beautiful skin. That girl must have had 3 glasses of wine because there's no way you ever looked like his mother. Ever.
No,
even at your heaviest.
I know at my heaviest, sure. Because I would just go, on tour. I wouldn't do makeup. Never, ever, ever would I wear makeup.
You're working.
That's it. And so, no, I didn't have like beauty days away or anything like that. There was no time. But I made up for it now.
Okay. You're forced.
No.
It was like, forced. I mean, was that only after you left the talk? When you started to?
No, when I was about 45, and then I decided,
okay,
I got to start taking care of myself.
And that's when it began.
Yeah.
The weight loss.
And surgery and whatever else. Got rid of those teardrops.
Perfection now.
Well, they've gone. I had to.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Cut.
Are you healthy now?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, we all have things that we do that we know we shouldn't. I mean, I'm still like a sugar addict. I mean, I could eat chocolate cookies instead of eating a proper meal. I would prefer to have the chocolate cookies.
Me too.
So
it's an addiction.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm pretty good.
You've been open about the Ozempic thing. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on it today?
My thoughts on it today is that I keep saying it says what it's going to do on the bottle, and it does it. Mm-hmm. And I just worry about young girls because it's very easy to get. You can get it, sent in from all these different countries. You can buy it illegally without a prescription online and all of that. And we all know how tough it is when you're a teenager and, you feel you've got a weight problem and you'll do anything to get rid of it. And it can be damaging.
When did you start taking it?
About 14 months ago. Mm-hmm. But I haven't had it for months.
Okay. And it was when you stopped, what happened?
I just stayed the same, and everybody said to me, "You will put it on like that. If you go back to eating what you were eating, you're going to put it on like that." And I didn't, but I don't eat as much. I just don't. Did it change your ability to eat as much, or is it just mental? Yeah, it does change.
Your stomach?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Well, then for people who have weight issues, then that's not a terrible thing, right? If it helps you to not overeat.
Yeah.
But have you put any weight? No weight has gone back on?
No, nothing. And every day, because I'm obsessed. So every day I'll weigh and no.
Every day?
Every
Why?
day. Because I'm obsessed with it. I know. Yeah.
Do you want to change that?
Oh, God, I wish that I could just not think of it and just think of other things. There's a million more important things other than the size of my ass. So it's like, I wish I could, but that's just
Can you
my
get rid of
thing.
the scale? Like starting just with that, with weighing yourself.
Oh, I couldn't.
You couldn't? I mean, you could.
No.
But
I mean, I could, yeah. But it would
Someone could take it, but then you get another one.
Yeah, I would go and get another one, yeah.
Does it fluctuate?
No.
You're pretty...
It's, listen, yes, 2 pounds, it'll go.
Water weight, that's a day.
Yeah.
I know, I see you and everyone as just a beautiful, strong woman. And listen, like you said, we all have our crap. It's just when it takes over like that.
I know.
How can you not allow it to take over? Take as much energy from you as it seems like it does? Or is it just something you're like, you know what, I'm 70 years old, I'm good. Leave me alone.
71.
Who is hotter than you?
Oh, please.
I hope
give me
you
a
look
break.
in the mirror and go, look at me. Like, seriously. And your energy. And that's the most important part, is this,
You never see yourself the way you are.
You're right.
You never do. I look in the mirror and see something else.
How close are you right now to being happy with what you see in the mirror?
I'm at the point in my life now where I'm at the age where it's as good as it's ever gonna fucking get. So deal with it, bitch. And I'm like, okay, I've got these two voices in my head, that go back and forth. And look, my husband is such a mensch with me. He's so good. He's so understanding. I was blessed to find a husband that didn't like skinny women.
Well, what does he do now then? Because you're skinny.
I know, and he doesn't like it.
Really?
No.
He tells you that?
Oh, yeah, and he worries about my weight all the time. You're too skinny, you're too skinny. But he loves me whatever. And so...
But he wants you healthy.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Probably, I'm guessing, wants you to love yourself, as we say, which sounds so cheesy, corny these days, but it is true.
It is true. It's very, very true. And that's what I've always told my children. You've got to love yourself or you can love anyone else.
Mm. Okay, but you just said it, that, all right, I'm 70, 71. This is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
So are we done? Are we done messing with
We're
whatever?
done. I wouldn't take anything. I wouldn't take anything else because I don't think my body could actually take it. It's like had enough of the shit that I've done to it. So, but it doesn't stop the voice in your head. It's like being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Once you're an alcoholic, even though you're not using, you'll still think about drinking.
So all of the things, but even the surgeries, even those, are you done?
Oh God, can you imagine now at this age? No, I couldn't. I just couldn't.
Couldn't what?
Imagine going in and saying, oh, I want this lifted and that lifted and suck a bit here.
There's nothing to suck, Sharon.
I'd be ridiculous. Even then, I know I'm pushing it.
Okay, so there's a line that has been reached.
Yeah.
You mentioned your hubby, and I don't know. I'm more interested in you. That's why I haven't brought him up, because I feel like, fortunately, the world has gotten to see you separate from him. But are you happy with what the world has gotten to see over the last several decades? Sharon Osbourne away from Ozzy. Obviously, you'll always be together, but you are a force on your own.
It was, I know, it's something that just happened. It wasn't planned. It wasn't like, well, I can do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do that, and I'll do that. It happened very organically. I'm glad that it did. I've had amazing experiences, met amazing people. incredible people, and learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, I like to think I've grown more as a person because I've had amazing opportunities. I've been blessed.
And you created those blessings, though. That's the best part. As far as when you started with nothing, that's just what I mean. When you two had just yourselves and you're in debt. And look, you know, I don't know that no one will ever understand that journey that you two had to go on, especially with the public watching as well.
Yeah, it was, it's been a bumpy ride.
Mm.
Yeah, because Ozzy went through a lot with his family. I went through a lot with mine. And, you know, it was, put it this way, people weren't ecstatic when we got together in my family, and only because of money. And it was tough, but it's made me tougher.
What was the lowest point?
My dad and other members of my family all resented the fact that I had married Ozzy and that we wanted away from my family. We wanted the family, but we didn't want to be under contract to my dad. And we got out of his contract. And my dad was the sort of guy in his day that you don't leave.
Yes.
He's not the kind of guy, he was never the kind of guy that if you left him and you did better than when you were with him, he couldn't say, oh, that's brilliant. I'm so happy for you. God bless. My dad resented it. So it was the more success we were getting together, the more my father resented it and threatened and did crazy things and just. So it was tough on us all at the time. Very tough.
You know, it's one thing to go through a tough season, a tough moment, and an illness that is resolved sometimes not in the best way, quickly, financial, whatever it might be. But that was so prolonged. That was 2 decades.
Decades of him, yeah.
So how in your everyday, because it's one thing if it's a business partner who's devastated you and what happened at CBS. It's another thing if it's your father. Yeah. I cannot imagine.
Yeah, I know.
How did you every day for so long?
Well, I felt very alone because the family, my father controlled the family, and it was what he says goes. So I lost everybody in my family, everybody. And that was very hard because you feel so alone. And I was pregnant with Amy, and to not be able to call your mum and say, oh, blah, 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 whatever it's about, not to be able to call anyone in your family. And you're pregnant and you're vulnerable and you're tired. And I didn't have that luxury. But again, my balls got bigger because of it. And I realized then that I'm a survivor and I wasn't going to have anybody bring us down.
Gosh, so it took heartbreak to find that strength.
It was crazy, crazy. And then, you know, my father would like go away for a few years and then suddenly pop up and threatening phone calls and just it's insanity, total insanity.
And with the rest of the family as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it took 20 years before you reconciled?
Yeah, 20 years.
It's one thing to reconcile. It's one thing to have the conversation and, you know, communicate again. It's another thing to forgive.
It was hard because when I did take my father back, he'd lost all his money. He'd gone through everything. And he had early stages of Alzheimer's, and he was, you know, had no money. And so I brought my dad back into my life and took care of him. And it was, for a while he knew who I was, and then he was, you know, gone as my dad. He'd gone. And it was, we never really spoke about anything from the past. Nothing.
Wow.
It was like, I'm back. And it was a weird experience, but it was sad for me to see my father in that state.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
It's a wicked, wicked thing for anybody to have that. It's like, God, how can you have done something so cruel that this exists in the world?
The worst.
It's the worst.
My grandmother and I'll never forget watching that slow progression. Hers was about over 14 years. It was terrible to see this vibrant person.
Yeah.
And that first, when they know what's happening and going to happen, and that realization, and then the physical.
And then they get angry.
Yes.
They get very angry. Yeah. And then that shutter goes down in their eyes and you can't, there's nothing there. There's nothing there at all. Yeah.
We'd get a little twinkle every once in a while, and it would give me chills every time. It was like she was back. And a smile would come over her, and then you could literally see it shut down. It was so eerie.
The only thing that moved my father that he could actually get was music. When I'd play him his old classic songs that he used to love, then he could sing along, but he didn't know my name. So it's amazing how the mind works, isn't it?
Father's name, yeah. And as you deal with your husband's health?
Oh, Lord, it's tough. Very tough.
Different.
Very, very tough. Yeah.
How do you find that strength? Is it from the same area?
Yeah.
Is it every day? Do you have to pull yourself up? I mean, when it's the love of your life and
somebody that was so vibrant and just so much life, so much to give to the world, and suddenly they can't do the things that they love to do, and that's heartbreaking. But his voice is still just as it was. It's a gift that he still has, and he loves to record, but touring is definitely not his thing anymore. But he does good. He does better than I do.
What do you mean?
No, he does. He deals with it better than I do.
Do you think that's because he knows that you are struggling?
I don't know. I like to think that he doesn't know that I feel the way that I do.
I feel like he reads you pretty well.
I don't know.
At this point. Also, just what you said about how he feels about you and thinks you're so beautiful no matter what, even if he wants you to put some more back here, right? I think it's the ultimate love story, though. And it's beautiful to see that in today's world.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone through some shit and back again and still together. And it's just, I know, we just are like this. And I mean, it's a blessing. And I realize that to find the love of your life, when we found each other, we may not always have got on, but, that's life, isn't it? No marriage is like this.
Oh my gosh, no.
And Ozzy says that if people say, we lived happily ever after, he goes, they're full of shit.
They are. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
But you're his person.
And he's mine. It's like he always says, oh, you saved my life. No, you saved mine. Because if I'd have still been working with my father, I'd have probably ended up in jail. Yeah. My brother did, and my father, he was extradited from this country and sent back to England for kidnapping somebody. And it's like, I would have been right along with them because I did whatever he wanted me to do. So I would have ended up the way he ended up.
My God.
Yeah.
This is when, and I don't know how strong your faith is, but this is when it's like, okay, he had a plan for you. You've lived this journey for a reason. You know?
And it's been a fascinating journey. Never been dull.
Oh, gosh, the
No.
opposite, right? Even when you
no.
wanted it to be dull.
No, it's never dull. And it still isn't.
Good.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of that you have done for yourself, for your family?
Just having my family. Family is everything. We're all really close. The kids, the grandkids, Ozzy and I, we're very, very close, very tight. We're very connected. And that's what I'm most proud of. Yeah, definitely.
Do you realize the strength you've provided for so many? I hope you do.
I just, from my own situation with my family where they dropped me over money and resented me doing well, never once said, we're so proud of you, you've done great, nothing ever, ever. And it's taught me out of bad comes good. And so you learn. And I saw the way my parents brought me up, and I never wanted that for my kids, ever, ever. Oh, sign this, sign that. This mortgage is in your name, but it's fine, all of that. But never.
Your kids are lucky to have you.
I'm lucky to have them.
Mutual, yes. But you broke that cycle.
I did. I definitely did. And I realized, I've been rich and poor so many times because I'm a huge spender. But I realized what money does to people. There are very few people that handle it well. Very few.
Yeah. Your kids know that it doesn't matter with them.
Mm-mm.
They got mom who loves them no matter what. And
and do you know what? Being the richest guy in the room, the ones I know who are the richest ones in the room, they're all fucked up.
I know. What is
really
that?
Really badly fucked up.
What is that?
I know.
Because they made that their life.
It's their priority. Their
over
absolute priority.
Well, not in the Osbourne household.
Do you know what? If you've got the will, and you can always get by. Always get by. I've never had any pride about, oh, you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that. Fuck it. You do what you have to do. Yeah.
Your strength, though, is something that I hope in your quiet moments that you can celebrate, especially that time with your father and since then. And 3 years ago with the public nature of what happened professionally, your strength, and it sucks to have to always be strong. It gets freaking old.
Let me tell you something. It's taken me a long time to realize that I don't do well working with other people. For a corporation or a company, I am too much of a, I say what I feel. And when you're not running the show, you can't do that. And I totally get it. People don't want to know your opinion, don't want to know anything. You turn up, you work, you get the fuck out. Yeah. And if I see something or somebody says something to me, I don't go, okay. If I don't believe in it, I'll go, fuck off. And that doesn't work well in TV.
Right. Right.
So it's, it also, it's a great thing to have, but it's also, people don't like it.
Yes. Well, they don't like honesty.
And they don't like it coming from an old woman or a young woman.
Or a young woman in general. Despite what they preach, they don't like it.
Nope.
And that's why I hope you are so proud of what you've done. It matters, obviously. We just met. And from afar for 100 years, I witness it. And then when it's my turn to stand up, guess what? So I think there's so many that are watching from afar, and you've known that forever, that we influence, and that's the blessing of this crazy world that
we live in today.
That we live in, and in particular, the industry that you and I chose. And you on another level with the personal family. So girls, women like me watched you.
Did your friends stick with you?
No.
Your
the ones
workmates.
that matter. The ones that matter. And that's what you realize. The ones that matter. And that's, thank you. It's a beautiful lesson. I'm actually so grateful. And so grateful to have had every part of it happen, because now I know, and I already knew, but it's confirmed. And the love that is out there. Also the love from strangers, that sometimes we only focus on the negatives and the hatred because it's real. But now I'm like, you know what? If you're going to judge me based on one sentence and you've never met me, I'm kind of a nice person. Like, just, if you want to have a conversation and we disagree, fine.
We're all multi-layered.
Yes.
There's not, there's so many layers to all of us. And you have good days, bad days, things that you wish you'd never said, things that you're proud you said. It's all here.
There's a cost to being true to yourself when you're in the public eye. And some people can handle it and some people cannot. Most cannot. I can't. I didn't know that I could. You obviously can. You're a pioneer in that way, even though you didn't want it. We didn't want it. But look, you're one of the few. And I don't know, for me, it's a badge of honor now, because if they say be true to yourselves, and you can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose which ones are allowed to. That's the diversity that we're all seeking, and the acceptance and the tolerance and the love and the kindness, right? And we all deserve it. We might not get it. And I'm okay with that now. It just took a lot to get there. You've been okay, because you'll just tell everybody where to go.
And you too.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
Do I have permission to say this? Yes.
Fucking
I'm done. And it's so great to be older and not care. Why does it take us so long?
I don't know, but it does, doesn't it?
This is why we have to share it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's, like you say, the friends that left you were the ones that weren't really friends. And they're probably just riddled with envy.
Probably in many ways, and or not. And that's for them, because deep down they know. Your friends on the show, your former friends on the show, they know. That's why they won't take your call. That's why they won't do those basic things. But I do find that it's easier. It's like, okay, it's okay, because I know my people, and I know my strength and my priorities. And you've lived it for us, and I'm just so damn grateful that you have been out front with it and inspired me.
Would you go back for a network again?
No. Never. Never. I don't care how much money, because I know I'll never be able to keep my mouth shut anymore again. And by the way, I did it in a professional way.
Oh, there was no hate speech. There was no, I know I'm right. You were just...
It's my experience for being a biracial girl who was told I wasn't enough here and enough there, and it's my experience. It's my experience with a vaccine that I was forced to take to keep my job. I can have an opinion on it if I comply and follow your rules. That's it. And yours was less, So no to network. I mean, you never say never, I guess. I don't know. But at the end of the day, there would be major parameters, because I will never again be silenced. Otherwise, this was all for nothing. And then I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah, that's the thing. When the kids were saying to me, you've got to apologize just for her. It'll mean a lot for her if you apologize. And it's like, I really don't want to do it.
I wish you hadn't. And I had to keep I was going to be fired if I didn't apologize, same thing. And then they call you a sellout, and then you're all those things. It's okay. We did what we thought was right in the moment. And after that, it's funny though, I now know, besides being a mom, I know why I'm on this earth. And that is to be a voice for others who live in fear like I did. So that's why I'm so grateful for all the crap. Bring it. Because now You know, it took a minute.
They've done the worst that they can ever do to you.
Yes.
And you're
broke
doing
me.
just fine.
Yes. Look who I get to sit with.
Get out of here.
I'm serious. Thank you.
Get out of here. How long did it take you to get over it?
Well, I don't. Am I over it? It's been 6 months.
Wow.
So it's pretty recent. And I was there for 16, almost 17 years. My whole life, my kids.
Your whole working life.
Yeah. 11 years prior at other places, but
Yeah.
60. Yeah. So the vast majority. And I loved it. And I have no regrets. Even the way it ended. It's okay. And it is a faith thing for me too. I believe this is like God has lifted me off the ground, literally. A couple times, I think. And so go for it. Do it again. But now I'm okay. And I know that if not, like, I don't know, do you have any room in your basement? Like, I'm not going to be homeless. My kids are off to college. It's just me.
Never are you going to be.
Yeah, it's just me. I'll be fine. Get them through college. And if it all goes away, I don't know, get some loans, pay for your college, whatever. Be fine. And hopefully these conversations inspire others to not wait so long to be honest and true to themselves and to not be a pleaser and apologetic. And it's bullshit. It's not worth it.
It's not.
No.
At the end of the day.
No.
At the end of the day, when you do something like what we both did, it's like you're being true to yourself.
Finally. Yeah.
And then everything that goes on, it's like you're being true to yourself and you're encouraged. Teachers, experts in the world are saying, to this generation, you have to be true. Talk about your feelings. Talk about how you feel about something. Bring it out. You have your little forum, use it. And that's all you did.
That's it.
Without
with
hate.
respect.
Without hate.
No, it's my experience.
Yeah.
I can have that.
That's it. And that's what people are encouraged to do. But the thing is, it's these minorities that have got so much power. And corporations are terrified because all they think about is their stock.
Weak. And that's why I don't want to be part of that.
They can't, look, they're all run by the stock market. It's how the shares are doing. If there's bad press, the shares will drop. Good press, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's all they care about. They could be dealing with cans of beans. They do not care. We are cans of beans to these huge corporations.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what we are. We're not human. Disposable, and that's it. And that's big business. That's big corporation. That's the way it is.
And they provided big salaries, and there were a lot of, it was a two-way street.
And prestigious to say you worked for your network, same with me. And it's like, okay, I get it.
Yes.
I totally get it.
And you made that decision, and now I have one to make as well for the future. And
so go fuck yourselves.
Yes.
And take your stocks and stick them up your ass.
And can I watch when we shove it up there? Yes.
Yeah, really. With a hot poker.
Yeah. Yes, steaming hot. I love you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
I appreciate it more than you know.